O God, I'm a sinner, and I need the forgiveness you offer in your Son, Jesus Christ. Please come into my life, save me from my past, and become the Lord of my future. I give myself to you. That's one version of what is commonly referred to as the sinner's prayer. It's basically confessing to the Lord that you're a sinner and that you can't do it on your own, and that you want Jesus to come into your heart and to make you a new person. I prayed that prayer in September of 1979. At that time, I had been an agnostic for 23 years. At the age of 13, I gave up on God. I did not cope well with the pressures of puberty and adolescence, and like many teenagers, I realized that I had been raised by people who knew nothing. I realized that I was the wisest person in the world. And so for many, many years I wandered in a wilderness of agnosticism and sin. I pretty much did what I felt like doing. I didn't listen to my conscience very much. However, I never stopped looking for some kind of meaning in my life. I dabbled in religious and philosophical studies. In the summer of 1979, I was concurrently reading several books. One book was on Zen Buddhism. It was called A Vision of Nothingness. Another book was about the secret society of the Illuminati, called Cosmic Trigger. And a third book was about Revelation. It was about end-time prophecies, but not written from a Christian perspective, but more from a New Age one. The cumulative effect of these books was to drive me deeper and deeper into despair. It became very apparent to me that Satan existed, and that he was active in my life and active in the world. At the same time, another book came into our house. I'm not sure if I brought it home or if my wife did. It was called The Beginning of the End, and it was written by Tim LaHaye. I didn't know who Tim LaHaye was. As far as I knew, he was just another New Age author. I understood that the book was about end-time prophecies, and I began reading it. I was immediately impressed with the fact that a book that had been written in 1972 was already starting to, in 79, I was already starting to see things coming true that had been predicted 7 years earlier. At the end of the second chapter, Reverend LaHaye witnesses to people, witnesses to the reader. He says, if you've never trusted the Lord, ask Him to come into your heart. Pray this prayer. And the prayer was written out at the end of the chapter. I was extremely skeptical. I'm a born cynic and a born skeptic. I have a master's degree in experimental psychology, which teaches you to be very, very skeptical. But at that point, I thought I have absolutely nothing to lose. So with as much enthusiasm, with as much sincerity as I could muster at the time, I read that prayer. And the effect was immediate. It was like an electric current ran through my body. And a voice in my mind, quite unlike anything I'd ever heard before, said, Carl, where have you been all these years? I've been waiting for you. Well, at that moment, I knew that God was real. I knew that He existed. And I knew that He had been waiting for me. All the doubts I'd ever had vanished in an instant. And that began a long, slow walk, a long, slow journey. Although I began praying every day and reading Scripture off and on, I didn't fellowship with other Christians much, and I didn't attend religious services. However, I did continue to grow, though it was very slow. It was steady. God will do that. He will take you all the way if you're sincere. There may be a few of you out there that have never prayed that prayer and asked the Lord into your life. If you haven't, I think it might be a good time to do that. All you need is sincerity. Oh God, I'm a sinner, and I need the forgiveness you offer in your Son, Jesus Christ. Please come into my life, save me from my past, and become the Lord of my future. I give myself to you. The title of this video blog is John 5:24. Truly I say unto you, he that heareth my word, and believeth on him that sent me, hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death into life. Thank you for listening, and have a blessed day.